Well, I would suggest we keep going and we continue to raise that question. And I think as we get into different topics, some like talent, we're going to need to talk at the regional level. It can't just be about Holyoke. And you know, what we're talking about at the moment is the residential market and the residential opportunities, and maybe that should better belong within what we're calling demographics. I kind of had it in a different category, but these categories aren't set in stone, so these comments are all helpful. So
one more.
Oh.
I'm going to add on a demographic issue, and I would agree with Bill's comments earlier, but I think having a large bilingual residential population in a global economy can be viewed as a potential asset and opportunity. And to not acknowledge that, I think, is a mistake in a principally monolingual area. I think having bilingual population is a real asset. We need to add that.
Excellent point. Excellent.
Okay, great.
Excellent.
Next category, talent. And we're, again, going to run through a few data points, and then I'm actually going to ask Dawn to run through. You'll be on board for the 4 quadrants on talent. I know you've been doing a lot of work and talking with a number of folks here. These are MCAS performance data. This is the percentage of people that are at proficient, need improvement, warning, or failing. Holyoke, the region, and the state. The quick story, and there's a lot of numbers here, but the quick story is that when we look at the Holyoke column in terms of warning and failing, the numbers are significantly higher than they are for either the region or the state. The region is actually very similar to the state in that regard, and the state overall is strong, so I think that could be seen as a regional strength. But Holyoke, when looking at the K-12 public education, that is a challenge. Next.
Actually, if I could just add one thing. It's a challenge, but when I look at that chart, I see schools that are doing a reasonably good job. That is, in the 4th grade, you only have 23% of the kids are advanced or proficient. By the 8th grade, 44. By the 10th grade, 53%. So whatever deficits kids could get, what?
That's because they're dropping out.
Because they're dropping out. So what's left? Right.
But I think there's an important point. There was a study done a few years back that showed that the children that were in the school, the largest percentage of, I don't know what the percentage was, it was close to 100% of the time, all passed the MCAS. The kids that are transient in and out are not passing the MCAS. So I think that's a really important point.
The ones that stay from kindergarten through graduation in high school, they are.
Right, and I think one of the challenges, there's nuance with all of this, and that's an important distinction. I mean, the reality, and again, thinking about it from, you know, what might a site selection person think about, for better or for worse, they may not go unless we tell the story to that next level of detail, and maybe that's incumbent on us as a community, as a region, to tell that story. Educational attainment, looking at high school and bachelor's degree, the larger bluish bar graphs are high school or better. Again, well, in this case, the region is almost as high as Massachusetts and on par with the U.S. over, well, about 85, 86% high school graduates. Bachelor's degree for the region at about 27%. Massachusetts overall is almost 40, very high statewide. Holyoke is lower on this score at just about 21% with a college degree or higher. This is just quickly some data on college enrollment in the Pioneer Valley. We know that the Knowledge Corridor extends even beyond this into areas in Connecticut, but we thought we'd put together some of the data from the 5 college network, other colleges largely in Springfield and Westfield, and then the community colleges, and we're talking 70,000 right here in Massachusetts in the Pioneer Valley, even more if you add on, like I said, into Connecticut. We also took a look at the share of degrees conferred by major. So of all the degrees that are being awarded and earned in the Knowledge Corridor compared to Massachusetts as a whole, I guess a couple of things that jumped out. Social science is the highest, even higher in the Knowledge Corridor. Health professions is higher in the Knowledge Corridor. Couple areas that are lower include technical, physical science, and engineering. A little bit less emphasis on engineering in terms of the composition of schools here. Don, I'm going to
I'll take everybody through the 4 quadrants quickly. This is where the push and pull on the local to region starts really taking place. And the bottom line is, I like to answer the question is, now you got to do both. You got to do both. But as a site locator, I'm going to start with what is that workshed? What does the Valley have to offer? So on the strengths, 5-college network and other colleges in the region attract students from across the nation. It is a destination. And destinations matter more than ever. So a broad spectrum of degrees. Of course, many of them are focused also on delivering those degreed students out to other places in the globe. And that's an interesting pedigree, though it doesn't take on some of the challenges that we have. I think we need to honor that pedigree in new ways because we are exporting talent. And there's a way to grab into that and take some value out of it. Strong community college system in Holyoke and Springfield to support workforce development, exhibiting a real sense of nimbleness, a willingness to look at everything from efficiencies to shared curriculum to looking at, Bill, all the way to what non-certificate type things need to take place for us to deliver fast response, global connectivity through higher education projects and alliances, unique flexible workforce system, and this is a unique model here. In a sense, if I could take liberties, Bill, it's almost as if you drew down the Department of Labor function to the regional level as a matter of strategy, and I haven't actually seen that before. So you have an interesting policy here. Strong desire for demand-driven strategy. There is, I think, Bill, a consensus in this market. I can talk to workforce, education, private colleges, and everybody says, we've got to keep an eye on the demand. And by the way, Washington says target industries matter, demand-driven matters. So good news, every region in America doesn't like that. They don't all say it. They get upset. If we're going to be demand-driven about what the target industries need, you've already accomplished something significant here, so congrats. Weaknesses, low K-12, performance in Holyoke, and whether we like it or not, let's not grieve over it. Let's go ahead and start fixing the problem. Can you keep it away from a site locator? No. It's like Exhibit A. So let's deal with Exhibit A in the near and long term. Relatively smaller share of degrees in engineering, technical, and science. It's on your scorecard. They're going to look at it. Smaller labor pool compared to Boston and New York markets. Perception of siloed talent delivery system. And I'm going to drill down here if that's okay. This was presented, Mayor, this morning. The word silo came up. And my friend here went, wait, what's that? So let me take the challenge, because we've got to rewrite this. Silo means, listen carefully, if I'm a site location person or a real estate manager for a company that wants to invest capital, create jobs, expand, grow markets, I'm going to, despite the fact that you're really good, 5 colleges, nice job, right? I have a need as a demand-driven company, and I want to know how that's going to work. What's my rapid response for my talent? And can you commit to me up to 4th grade that you're going to be there for me in a generation? All right, so I say those things and my technical needs, and this community says, well, here's 20 business cards. They'll be happy to help you. And I'm going to go, I don't have to do that. Why can't I have the portfolio? Why can't I have the leadership team that says, I got you, kind of to your point about North Carolina. I got you, and we're all locked at the hip from 5 colleges all the way to pre-K, lifelong learning. And so the site location goes, what do I have to do? You mean I got to go figure this out myself? And it's the most important factor. So this is good news because you're that close. Who's got the best data warehousing for human capital movement in the country? I think Massachusetts does. Who's already conquered the demand-driven system? We're all there. So weakness, yes, but what a neat little leap we could take. So I've been rehearsing, sir. You brought that up this morning. Silo is in, I got to shop the whole portfolio all by myself. Yes, you do. Okay, well, thanks. I'll go to a region that already has the answers for me. Opportunities, regional workforce and talent development initiatives, full range of assets, extend to Connecticut, Cisco Smart Connected linkage to education, high potential, improved K-12 STEM education through connections to the supercomputer and the research consortium. And let me tell you, the rule book is being written on STEM globally right now. You don't have to wait around and figure it out. The entire indicators are out there, whether you're looking at the EU or Asia. So let's go, let's do it. And it's something that you would connect to our marketing here as well. Pioneer Valley is talent policy testbed, demand-driven strategy. Already we have that in our minds. Alignment, leadership of the talent supply. And then the threats, providing job opportunities to retain more graduates and young skilled workers. Right, right. And, you know, half of you have said to me in the past 6 weeks, oh, there's a chicken and egg problem. Well, okay, I know. Everybody's got the chicken and egg problem. What are our targets that are going to start bringing us out? We pick the right battles in the right industries, we can start conquering this. Resources and initiatives to improve Holyoke Public Schools and performance. And without upgraded skills K-12 education, there'll be a little demand for skill levels represented in the current population. A lot of this you've been saying back to us anyway, but I wanted you to see, you know, that the work shed, the talent proposition for the entire Pioneer Valley, that's it. Got to start there, and then the stronger you get, the more targeted you are in terms of your talent, you could pull it. You can pull the whole region with you if you want to. Okay? Did that do what you needed?
Yes.
Questions?
I got it.
Yeah, let me come to you. You got it, Tim.
I guess I want to sort of pause here and give you some feedback that I'm feeling, and some of this has come up in the previous sort of questions or comments. So I'm going to try to boil this down. The first issue for me is geography, which Dan pointed out. We're trying to operate at a minimum of 3 levels of geography: less than city, meaning innovation district, city, region, and then occasionally we wander in and out of super regional when we go to Knowledge Corps, which crosses the board. I think it's really important when we frame the SWOT analysis to know what piece of geography we're in, because I don't know it's going to be helpful to us to help you or to give you feedback if we keep sort of throwing everything into the salad bowl and then try to figure out how this is going to turn into a strategy going forward. So that's my first point. My second point is a caution about site selectors, nice guys and gals. But a lot of the economic activity of today is not driven by site selectors. It's driven by what happens inside the region by small businesses, entrepreneurs. That's where most of the job growth is actually coming from. So when I get to the lower levels of geography, meaning less than city and city, I can see, even with all of the